All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boxed Lunch. It is another Monday morning, and we are so very excited to be here today with you, sharing another fabulous guest with us today. So please help me in welcoming Rita Alfaro. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome. Rita, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well today. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. We are back revisiting the library today. So, Rita, we're so glad you joined us. And before we get started, would you mind just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who it is you are and what it is you do?
So, hi everybody. My name is Rita Alfaro. I am the music librarian for Fort Worth Public Library. In my past careers, I was also a music educator. I also did some graduate work in ethnomusicology. Music and libraries are pretty much my life and my loves. So, yeah, that's who I am.
Very nice. I had no idea that there was a music librarian. Do you mind telling me a little bit about what that entails and what it is specifically you do in regards to music at the library?
Yeah, so so Fort Worth Library, this position's fairly new. I just started at the end of April. So right now what we're doing, our biggest thing is Amplify 817, which is an online streaming service that we have that specially curated to showcase Fort Worth musicians specifically. We just closed our submission round about a month ago, almost a month ago, and right now me and a panel of curators, hi curators if you guys are watching, with them after this. We're actually going through all of the submissions and reviewing them and deciding who's going to make it for this round. Definitely a tough one. But other than Amplify, what the music librarian position does with the library, we're doing some music programming, virtual for now, but a lot of music programming. We're hoping to expand what we do have in the music collection, not just what we have physically like our CDs or maybe vinyl records in the future, but also what we'll be doing with instrument loaning. Right now we have some guitars. I don't think they're available yet, but we're trying to get some instruments out for loaning as well as maybe implementing some classes and pretty much just trying to feature music in general, what we have in Fort Worth, and just trying to give out that music information to everybody as well.
I think that's incredible. I never realized that that was an option for the library system. I think we assume it's mostly just literature and books and things like that. Is this a new program for the library, or has that always been a part of the Fort Worth library system?
So the music librarian position is new, but we've always had music available in some form of streaming, at least in the years I've been here. This is my 8th year with Fort Worth Public Library. We've always had music available in streaming. We've always had CDs available for checking out, even like live DVDs. I believe Central has some sheet music available. But the Amplify is new. We launched in February. That was a big thing. And it's in collaboration with Here Fort Worth. As well as funded by our Fort Worth Public Library Foundation. So we're all kind of just working together to do that and amplify the voices of Fort Worth, because we are the music-friendly city. And there's a lot of really, really great music out there. And even me, as somebody I've always loved local music, and I've always tried to find like those pockets and niche communities. I'm discovering a lot more music now, just going through the submissions that we've had. We've had almost 100 submissions this round. And it's just amazing, the talent that we have out there.
Yeah, that's incredible. What a wonderful resource. I had no idea that the library system was that engaged with the music industry and the curation of that material as well. So I think that's a fabulous thing to have at the library, and just another addition to the ability for the library to have resources for us to find ways to engage in the community with not only literature, but also some fabulous audio stuff as well. I can only imagine. Just out of curiosity, do you have a rough estimate of the volume that you have in terms of the musical catalog there?
I do not. It's pretty large. I'm not sure how many CDs we have. And I know what we try to do is also, if we can get our hands on any of the local music available, we'll try to do that as well. Some collections are bigger than others. Right now it's mostly CDs. That's what we've got available. No more vinyl. I think we had some really, really old records, and I don't know, maybe not. I can't say for sure if that'll come back in the collection. Vinyl's definitely made a comeback in the public. It's always been here. I'll say that as somebody who collects. It's always been around. There's a lot of communities that have always been vinyl collectors, but I think it's made its way back into being that popular medium to listen to music. So maybe we'll get there too if people are interested in that. But as for CDs, I'm not positive.
Gotcha. Well, I'd be curious, and maybe we can take a little poll, and people can take a guess as to how much they think is there, and maybe you can check out for us and come back on, and
yeah, I can definitely.
We can have a little contest and see if people want to guesstimate the volume of musical CDs in the library, and then that might be a fun little quiz to come back later on and see if anybody was close or how far away they might have been. I have a feeling they might be surprised by the amount of music that's there in the library.
Yeah, I know we've got a good amount of it, and we're always trying to keep up with different genres, especially our Spanish collection. We actually have a pretty good Spanish CD collection that's really popular in certain locations. But I think either at the beginning of this year, or maybe it was last year, Manya had done, our director Manya, who was also on here, I think she did an interview either with Star Telegram or with somebody, and she talked about CDs, because I think people were arguing, like, do people even check out CDs anymore? Everything is streaming, and I think people forget about the digital divide that exists, and not everybody does have access to the internet or pays for music subscriptions for streaming. So yes, CDs do get checked out. They are very popular still, just as popular as streaming is as well. So
wow, what a great resource.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's good to know, and I'm really curious. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, make sure you give us a guesstimate of what you think their catalog number might include. I'd be interested to see what people think and then what the actual number is. So, all right, Miss Rita, what's on your lunch menu today? And do you mind telling us a little bit about the ingredients that are involved with it?
Yes, so I already kind of prepped a little bit. Super easy. I figured it's Monday, so Meatless Monday is a good thing to do. I just kind of call it a zucchini veggie mix. Pretty much it's just corn, black beans, and I do the no salt added. Some people rinse them. Zucchini, and then some cherry tomatoes, and a lot of spices. As a Latina, I am always, this goes in everything I do, which is cumin or ground cominos. That goes in every single thing I cook. So yeah, I usually get the big bottle. This is a smaller bottle for me. But yeah, that's what I'll be making today. It's quick, it's easy. You can cook it as long as you want. If you like really soggy zucchini, I don't. You can cook it for maybe 30 minutes. If you're like me, you like it kind of crunchy, like 15 minutes, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right, so I'm taking it easy today. I keep saying that, and I don't know if any of these lunches have become easy. So I'm doing one of my standby favorites. I love breakfast at any time of the day. So today I am making a fried egg sandwich. I keep harping on this little Italian grocery store in Krebs, and made a trip down there, so I'm just trying to use all of that. So I've got some Italian sausage that I cooked last week, and so I'll be putting that in as well, with a little bit of cheese, a couple of eggs, and some toast. So I'll be having a nice little fried egg sandwich today, and my prep's pretty easy. Heat up the skillet, throw in the egg, and then add the ingredients. So the toaster's my...
Yeah, I was gonna say mine's just the one pot. Just throw everything in the pot and heat it up, and you're good to go. So
yeah, I'm stepping things up today. I'm actually using a toaster, so I have two appliances: the skillet and the toaster. So we'll see how if I'm able to multitask and keep both of those things working. So All right, so Miss Rita, do you mind telling us a little bit about your pre-prep there and how you go about putting all your ingredients together?
So I already kind of did some of it. Essentially what I usually do first is I'll cook the corn and the beans first, and I'll leave it like on low, maybe like 3 or 4, almost to medium, just to get it kind of warmed. Then I usually put the zucchini next. And then I'll just kind of cover the pot. As I'm putting the ingredients, that's when I'll put spices. I don't measure spices. Some people do, some people don't. I just kind of put to like think it'll be okay. This is pretty much fail-proof in the sense that, let's say you taste it and you're like, oh wow, this is still a little bland. Just go in and throw in some more spices. Like there's so I'll just kind of put spices as I go, stir a little bit. The zucchini has a lot of water in it, so I know some people will typically put like maybe some like chicken broth or vegetable broth if you want to make sure it stays vegetarian or vegan. I don't, because the zucchini just carries a lot of water. So I just kind of let it sit, and then I'll usually do the tomatoes last, and then put more spices. Sometimes I don't have cilantro with me. I'll usually put cilantro in there. I'll just kind of tear it up. And then I usually will top it with quinoa. I don't have any quinoa on me today, so I'm not making quinoa. Or I'll do some different cheeses when I plate it. I'll usually do queso fresco, Mexican cheese. I really love, but I don't have that on hand either. I know when I make it for friends and family, they'll like to put either maybe cottage cheese on it or Greek, or you can do sour cream and just give it that extra like kick. So it's very, like I said, fail-proof, really easy to make, easy snack if you're trying to stay light. My entire family is diabetic, so this is also a very diabetic-friendly meal, which I appreciate. And again, it's quick. I'm one of those people who's 30-minute meals or less, 1 pot, 5 ingredients or less. If I can do that, I will make it.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get to it. And while we're prepping up and getting things ready to go, I was wondering, I know that we had visited with the library system, I guess, gosh, I think it might have been a month ago. And here we are again. And so we felt it was important to kind of circle back around and see how things have changed or redirected. So while we're starting on our lunch prep, do you mind talking a little bit about how your organization, the library system, is now being affected or redirected in its priorities, considering that here we are again on an upswing with the cases of the COVID, and how's the library adjusting these days to, gosh, the end of July, I'll say?
Yeah. We definitely weren't expecting everything. I think a big part, I think we were kind of playing it by ear, and we were doing it, I think like every 2 weeks we were kind of seeing, and then it became, because we closed in March, and then it became sort of a, let's see where we are at the end of the month sort of thing. And as somebody who does, I'm on the programming side of things right now. I used to be frontline before I took the music librarian position. And so I know they've gone back and they're doing limited hours still. They're doing curbside, and then they're doing the branches. They're kind of switching between branches. So we haven't opened all the branches. And I think that was the big thing, is we were going to open some locations and then finally open the rest. And then once the numbers started going back up, we're like, okay, let's keep this service going, because it's been really great. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from all of the curbside and the limited services still. And we're playing it really safe. We're sanitizing all of the materials as they come in. We, of course, are doing temperature checks at the door, requiring masks as well. So that's, if anybody's been kind of weary about going into the library, you know, you can feel a little at ease that we are doing all those checks and all the cleaning regularly and often. But that's sort of the shift from that side, is that we're still kind of on our limited services. We're not totally comfortable opening up completely yet. And that's because we do have another new branch that's finally opening, which is our Golden Triangle branch. And we're still kind of checking when we're going to do that. We're kind of waiting on it to see how everything's going. They are doing curbside right now as well. So they're open for that, but they haven't opened completely to the public yet. And that's what we're kind of still waiting on. From the programming side of things, from what we're doing, we're sticking all virtual. We were kind of hoping by fall that we could start maybe implementing a couple of limited in-house programming, and we've just decided for the safety of people, and we just don't want to do crowds or anything where even with the masks and crowds, you know, we still want to play it safe for the staff and for the people and the presenters, of course. So we're trying to just stick with completely virtual, which has its challenges on its own. as you well know, doing this, you know, you have to rely on good internet, hoping that your internet's good and hoping their internet's good, and hoping that people still want to do things virtually as well. I think that's also a thing. I know we talked a little bit about Zoom fatigue, and people kind of just getting like another online thing, another thing, but we're providing really good quality content, what we're doing online. And so we're hoping that people still want to participate and be part of that.
Yeah, I got my notice for, I think it was Monday story time a little while back, and so it's great, some of the virtual programming that the library has in place. Can you talk a little bit about specifically the musical programs that are virtual?
Yeah, so right now what we have, right now we've been doing a lot of focus on Amplify 817 and kind of getting that up and running. We were hoping to get it going in the spring, and then we've just had some pushback here and there, but we're finally just finally hit the ground running on it. And so that's kind of our big thing. We're gonna have some more presenters and musicians doing some really great stuff. We had Brandy Pace do a really wonderful talk about Black roots music. And she did it for our Juneteenth programming, which was just really fantastic. Again, it's kind of ties in that entertainment, but it's also educational and informational. And that's a big thing of what I really want to tie in with this music program that we're doing. We're hoping maybe to do some virtual either jam sessions or music lessons. We haven't gotten there yet. It's kind of just schematics and who can do what, and do we have the resources for it, as well as we have a music therapy program that we're doing this, and I'm hoping to extend that to doing different parts of it. But it's sort of an intro if anybody's ever been interested in music therapy, or if you've never heard of that kind of therapy, I highly recommend it. I have a few friends who've done it in the past and really loved it and made a career out of it as well. It's great for all ages. And we have a local group, Heart and Harmony, who are going to be presenting it for us and kind of giving some examples and talking through its benefits. So that'll be this Thursday at 6 o'clock, and and it's virtual. So if anybody wants to attend that, I myself am doing, aside from the Amplify, I have a music program that's just kind of a music chat sort of thing. It's called Off the Record. And so it's kind of just an open forum for people to come if they just want to talk music. If they're still like at home, maybe they're feeling lonely, maybe you discovered a new album, you learned a new instrument, you read a really great article on something, it's kind of your space to come and talk about it. Or I leave it open for people who are curious about Amplify too, if they have any questions or comments. Like, it's sort of like an open hour of me just being able to answer what I can. And then we also have the book edition of it on Mondays. We're doing one today, this evening. So this month's theme was Texas musicians and Texas biography. So if anybody wants to stop by tonight at 6 o'clock on Zoom, we'll be talking about different Texas music biographies, different Texas musicians. We could talk about Texas genres. Pretty much I leave it open-ended for any sort of talk. I'm not going to reject any sort of music. I know I've been reading a book about Pantera. Apparently I'm the only person who did not know Pantera was from DFW.
Yeah.
Arlington specifically.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I'm from South Texas. I'm not from Fort Worth originally, so I had no idea. But it's been a really interesting biography to read, and I love reading all the little tidbits about Arlington and Fort Worth in there. So, yeah.
Wow, some great information. And I'm assuming that the virtual programs can be found on the Fort Worth Public Library Facebook page. Also, I'm assuming there's some information on the website as well for people that are looking to find that tonight or just seeing what the programs are.
Yes, so most of it, what we're doing is we're doing it through Zoom. So you can find it on Facebook under our Fort Worth Library page. We have an events tab, and that'll have everything that's coming up either now or later. You can always save it for later if you know you can't come tonight, but you want to come to the next one. That's always that. We also have a calendar on our Fort Worth Library website, fortworthlibrary.org. And that'll have all the events we have, whether it's children or adults on there. We also have some really good Facebook pages that we've started. Like we have our online book club, which I think is up to about 400 people now.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's been probably our most successful thing so far is, at least for the entertainment part of things, people are just really involved, and it's sort of reading at your own pace as well, and being able to have a discussion at your own pace, instead of that traditional book club where it's like, all right, finish this book by and come to discuss it, and you're kind of hoping that nobody knows that you maybe skimmed through it really quick, or maybe you didn't like the book and you didn't finish, and this is something you can do on the Facebook page. It's like, hey, I couldn't get through chapter 3, like, did anybody else feel the same? And you can just kind of have that ongoing conversation. So that's really great. We also have the book chats on Friday, which is like a Zoom thing where you can come talk about anything books as well. We do trivia nights on Tuesday. We've been involving people in the community to come and co-host that with us. I did a music one with Tom Martins from here, Fort Worth, and that was really fun. Yeah, and then we also have our classes still. We're doing Spanish conversation classes as well as Spanish language classes online. And we have our GED classes as well that we've been able to do. So there's a lot, but yeah, that on the Facebook or on our page, our Fort Worth Library page.
Yeah, all kinds of great stuff. I so hope that people engage with that and see all the different things rather than just checking out a book. It just all kinds of some fabulous community events there to keep people inspired and engaged. So great work, great work.
Yeah,
right.
and I won't take all the credit for it. I have an amazing team of people who are helping me and giving me ideas, and we're just bouncing stuff off of each other, and it's been great. It's one of those things where you realize you're not alone in this and everybody's just trying to figure everything out and find the answers. And yeah, there's a lot of really great online communities as well for people who are in the same boat, who are just trying to figure things out. And that's been a lifesaver also, is just kind of bouncing ideas off of people, not necessarily in your system, but from everywhere. Just also doing virtual programming and waiting to see what's going to happen. Everybody who's staying hopeful that things will get better.
Yeah, really. All right, so I see you prepping your lunch there a little bit, and I saw that you put in your corn and looks like your beans, I believe.
Yes.
Did you cook that at a high temperature? Is it a simmer? While you're prepping your lunch there, tell me a little bit about how you go about ensuring deliciousness.
I am doing it at about like a 3 or 4, so almost medium, I guess a high low. And I just let it heat up while it's doing that. Typically I already pre-prepped, but typically during this time is when I'm cutting up the zucchini and the tomatoes, but I already went ahead and cut them up. So now I'm just waiting for this to heat up. And like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in my first layer of spices. And again, I don't measure, I just do it until I think it looks good. And I'm using cominos. I like smoked paprika. That adds a nice kick. Sometimes I'll do chili powder. Today I decided not to do chili powder. I'm gonna do some cayenne pepper. And I always do, and this is the giant jar, because I'm too lazy, again, to cut real garlic. I just buy the giant jar of already minced garlic. That's my preference. And I love garlic, so I don't feel like there's ever too much. I mean, I guess there is too much to garlic, but I'll just do like a nice chunk. Just throw that. And then as it's heating up, I just kind of let it do that. And I'll probably just let this sit, mix it, and I'll let it sit for a minute or two. And then I'll throw in the zucchini in a minute, and then the tomatoes.
Awesome. All right, so I got my eggs frying up here in my skillet. So same kind of thing. I'll just let that set up a little bit, and then I'll flip it over and get to some of my other ingredients. I know that some people with their egg sandwiches don't like to break that yolk, but I found it makes it a little bit easier. And then I've got my cut up Italian sausage. and my cheese right there. And as you can see, this beautiful, fancy, shiny toaster for the bread. So I'll move over with that a little bit once I get the eggs flipped. And while we're waiting for our stuff to set up here a little bit, I was curious if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what you've learned about yourself and your organization during this trying time.
As for myself, I can say that I've learned I'm not a homebody. I'm very introverted, but I'm not a homebody. And so it's been a little difficult kind of just like staying home all the time. I like to say that I haunt around Fort Worth. I have haunts. I'm a creature of habit. So there's a lot of places that I really missed during like those first couple of months when everybody was closed or only doing curbside that I really liked going to. I had a weekday off. I used to be off on Fridays. So that was my favorite time to go out. Like there wasn't huge crowds because most people were working. And I could just go get lunch or read a book somewhere, or, I loved going to all the record shops and just digging, and it almost felt like you had the shop to yourself. So I definitely miss that. I realized, again, not a homebody, but it's been nice. I've been exploring a lot of the parks and just kind of walks outside to keep my sanity. As for the library, I will say it's been amazing seeing how creative everybody is. And it's kind of also amazing to see how much everybody really loves their work. I think not that we enjoyed being closed and off for so long, but there was definitely a period I talked to some of my old coworkers and they were just like, I miss working and I miss my patrons and I miss seeing everybody. Because that's the interesting thing about the library. We do have a lot of connections with people. Especially our regulars, we see them once a week, maybe twice, 3 times a week. We have people who come every day and we just kind of get to know them and talk to them all the time. And there's even periods of time where we're just like, I haven't seen this patron in 2 weeks. I wonder if they're okay. Maybe we should give them a call. And that was something we actually did do while we were closed. We were doing phone calls to people 65 and over to just make sure that they were okay and that they were doing fine without our services, and that was really popular as well. But just seeing how much everybody really loves working at the library, I think we're just a really great organization, and we've just been able to rally and help each other out. Like there's a lot of branches doing collaborations right now with switching off curbside and which locations open and helping each other at those locations. And also from the programming perspective, just seeing everybody kind of come together and figure out, how can we continue to do this? How can we continue to do story or book club or, the GED classes virtually? And how can we still continue to help our patrons in that way that maybe aren't so comfortable with the internet? And I think that was a big thing before. There's a lot of people who weren't necessarily comfortable with computers or using applications on their phones or their tablets. And they would come in to our locations, especially, I used to work for Seminary South. So we'd get a lot of people who were just like, I got this tablet as a gift. I have no idea how to use it. And so we kind of help walk them through. And now it's like that next step, like, okay, you have your tablet, maybe you kind of know how to use it, but how can I help them virtually figure out how to do virtual things? Sure. Yeah, so just coming up with creative solutions and continuing to really want to provide outstanding programming that's really amazing. And I'm very proud of our library system for that.
Awesome. Yeah, just some really great resources there. So great information to know. All right, so I flipped my egg here, and now what I'm going to do is just literally kind of take some of that sausage and put on top. And then, of course, the ever popular cheese is what will hold that together. So I just dropped that on there as well. And the thing I love about egg sandwiches is once you get that egg fried, the rest is pretty much easy. So I'll just let that set, fold it over in a minute, and was curious if you're moving forward with the zucchini at this point.
Yes, I'm putting the zucchini in now. I'm using my hand. My hands are clean. It's my lunch. I know some people are just like, why don't you use this? My hands, it's fine. I wash. But yeah, I'm putting the zucchini in. I'm going to put more spices again. Because you can never have enough.
Never. Great stuff there. Yeah, it looks absolutely delicious. So I'm curious, what is an ethnomusicology? What exactly does that entail?
So ethnomusicology is the study of world music and world dance, I guess in the broadest sense of the term. I have some graduate hours in it. I studied it a little bit. I didn't get to finish the program because I took a job with the library, so I left. And I moved from where I was studying here to Fort Worth. It's something to consider in the future if I want to finish it or not. But pretty much world music, world dance. It's also studying a lot of cultures and the niche communities again. Like I had one coworker one colleague of mine, another coworker. She was studying music. She was studying Zumba, which was different around the world, the way people interpreted Zumba, even though it comes from that one collective. And then she just studied exercise and music in exercise in general. And I thought that was really cool. I had another colleague who is doing linguistics in music. So he's studying the language of music in that sense. My thing was studying vinyl records and music communities.
Wow.
That was kind of where I ended my thing on. And I also did some work with specifically border music and border culture. I'm from South Texas, like I said, the Rio Grande Valley. So not San Antonio. That's what most people think. They're like, oh, South Texas, San Antonio. I'm like, I'm a little further down. I'm about 4 hours further south. Yeah, I was studying a lot of border music and border culture and music that's unique to Texas as well. Like that's Mexican, but also American, but also like conjunto music, which is German inspired as well. So it's just a mix of those cultures, and that's something that we were studying and how important it was and how it kind of went out into the world or into the United States, how something so regional was able to spread. And a lot of it had to do with migrant workers and radio play and even records, specific like record labels that were made in people's homes. People were doing stuff in their kitchen, just trying to press their own local recordings so they could send it to people who were traveling to Minnesota or Michigan or Nebraska to go work in the fields, or even California. Like it spread in that way, and it's just become a massive kind of culture. So those are just some ideas. There's a lot of people who are just studying all sorts of things, like, and just finding out those little niche music communities. Again, I say that a lot, niche music community, but that's really what the study is just understanding music from that world's perspective instead of just that box of these are classical music artists, these are essential, and this is what you need to do or listen to. It's beyond that. It's what's essential to somebody else, and how does music work as a social culture.
That's really cool. So I'm going to put you on the spot. I know most people have asked if you were stranded on a desert island. I'm just going to go ahead and reference today's world. When you're stranded at home during a pandemic, what have been 3 albums you can't live without?
Okay. David Bowie's Hunky Dory. That's my absolute favorite. I'm going to say Selena Ones, which is funny. I'm a big Selena fan, and I joked with my colleagues. I was like, I'm going to try not to talk about Selena during this interview. I just ruined that. Yeah, her Selena Ones album, which just got repressed. If anybody's a Selena fan, it is available again. At one point, it was limited edition. And I was up at midnight, like waiting to pre-order that. As for the last album, let's see. I'm trying to think of all the records that I have and everything I love, and that's a hard one. I'm gonna say there's a local band from here that I really, really love and enjoy, and they kind of sparked my interest in that garage rock and punk rock sort of thing, which I did also study while I was doing the ethnomusicology thing. And I'm gonna say Mind Spiders. Pretty much any of their albums. I love all their albums, but they're a local band from here, from Fort Worth, and they're absolutely amazing in what they do. They have, I think, 5 albums, and I love all of them. So I'll say their first album, which is just the self-titled.
Wow, good information, good information. Love to hear about those local bands. And we've got so many talented people in and around this area that anything we can do to continue to promote them and support them is great. So yeah, that's great information as well. So I'm always curious what people lean to whenever they're asked those questions. So looks like tomatoes are going in.
Tomatoes are going in, and I like to do the fun, colorful tomatoes, just because it looks pretty. Food should look pretty. I have a thing with brown food. It's just sad, fried stuff all the time. And don't get me wrong, I am a girl who, if it wasn't for this today, I'd probably be just making like a corn dog to eat really quick. But yeah, it's just occasionally I should probably eat some vegetables, and this is a good way of doing that. So.
Well, it looks absolutely delicious. There's some wonderful color there, and I can't wait to see the finished product. So, all right, so while we're moving forward here, I was curious if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what item or food venue are you most looking forward to indulging in whenever we return to some sort of normalcy in our future?
So like I said, I haunt a lot of places regularly when I was on my day off. So it just made me sad I couldn't go to these places. If they were doing curbside, I was definitely participating in that. Because I could not stay away and I wanted to continue supporting local business. Some of my favorite places that were kind of closed for a little while that I loved were Tokyo Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Who I commend, because I've actually gone, I went once to go eat to see how they were now that they're back open, and their safety procedures are absolutely outstanding. They're also doing temperature checks. They have the social distancing. They have everything kind of boarded up, so you're very private in your own little
Right.
And they're also doing virtual menus, so you can just pull it up on your phone. Unless you're like me and you have your item memorized, you're like, I know exactly what I want. So Tokyo Cafe, I love Swiss pastry. Right now their bakery's open. Their restaurant's not open right now, but I will stand by them. They have some of the best burgers in Fort Worth. I love them. Rodeo Goat, and they're open as well, and they have the patio open if you want to go eat. Safety. Yeah, those are my favorite like 3 restaurants here in the area that I just really loved. But as for other places, I've bought a lot of records during this time because I wanted to support a lot of the record shops in the area. So like Record Town, I love Doc's Records a lot, Panther City Vinyl, Vintage. Those are my top. In Denton, which Mad World Records, which actually closed. They're only doing online now, which makes me so sad. They were my favorite place to go when I go back to Denton. But I was buying a lot of records from them if I could online or doing curbside pickup because I wanted music. Music was kind of what helped keep me sane during this time that I was off. And also I really am a big fan of supporting local business. And I just wanted to make sure I could help in any way I could.
Yeah, some great information there. And I don't even know if some people are aware that there are record shops still out there. And there is nothing better than going through and flipping through all of those beautiful, wonderful album covers. I am so partial to vinyl myself, and I just think it's just unmatched. And so I'm really glad that it has made a resurgence in the last few years and things. So good stuff. Make sure you come back and lead us to some of those independent record stores after the interview, if you can come back on. I'm sure that some of our people will be hunting down those links, but if you see a store or something that you'd like to share with us, just drop it in the comments so we can make sure and get out there and support the local industry. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And all of them are amazing. I've had really good experiences. I will say, as a woman in the music industry, sometimes it's a little difficult. Not that I'm far in the industry, I'm not like a performer or anything, but it can be a little intimidating. Sometimes people don't feel like women have a place in that sort of sense. And so I've always felt very welcomed in all these stores that I've mentioned. They're always just really great. And I love having the conversation, even if you're just taking like one random album, the people behind the counter just like, oh yeah, I really love this too. Have you heard this? Or even just talking about the artist, or I really love compilation albums because I feel like you can just find more things and kind of trickle out from there in interest. But just talking about like, oh, have you heard this one? Or, oh yeah, this label is no longer in existence, but there's a similar one, and I love that. And I've gotten that experience from everybody. And that's sort of what I'm trying to do as well in the off the record thing, is just have that open area to kind of feel like you're in a record shop and to kind of feel like, you know, you're somewhere where you can talk and it's kind of a safe place for you to talk about all of your interests in music and all of that kind of stuff.
Wow, some great information. Now, we talked a little bit before we went live on Facebook about community resources. And I know that a lot of the resources that have come out have been focused on financial support and how a lot of our organizations are able to reach out and find some assets in terms of financial resources in these hard times. And that led us to be talking about some other resources. And I was curious if you wouldn't mind expanding on that a little bit about some of the community resources that you've seen or are using yourself. And if you could just talk a little bit about that.
I'd say, so the biggest thing, of course, the library, we're doing a lot of virtual stuff right now. So of course, I'm always going to promote that. If anybody's looking for more of that information or just trying to find different resources, we can always lead you to the right spot. Another thing I wanted to call out was the community centers who are still doing camps for kids, which I think is really great. I know their safety procedures have been really wonderful. And so people are still kind of looking for their kid to maybe get out and do something in a safe way. I know it's limited, but I think it's really great. And our community centers are really a staple in the community, which is why they're community centers, but they are fantastic. They have hard workers and they're absolutely wonderful to work with. Another one I want to talk about was Sound of Resilience. I believe that's the name. I might have to look that up again, but it's a grant program for Fort Worth musicians right now. So I'm sure most musicians have heard of it, especially because they're struggling right now. A lot of them are kind of doing like the virtual events for tips. Or some of the venues in the area, like at Southside, I know they've been doing virtual performances still up until they reopened the bars and then they closed the bars. And so they had to stop and start. And I know they were kind of doing it for donations. So it was free, but if you wanted to kind of help out the band or the venue, you could do that. But Sound of Resilience is a grant program for the musicians if they're having a hard time, especially if they're not being able to perform regularly like they once were. I know there's plenty of musicians who are telling us on Amplify, like, well, I had a whole tour planned in this side of town or this, this side of the country, and I had to cancel. And that's really difficult.
Yeah.
People who probably were finally making it as musicians and were able to quit like their day jobs and dedicate 100% of their time to making music and performing, and then COVID hit and you're left without either or. So yeah, that's something I definitely want to promote, is any way you guys musicians can get money to kind of keep going or putting out music, definitely go for that.
Awesome. Great information. And we'll try to get some links up on that. So make sure you check back. And if there's anything else, again, that you'd like to add, just feel free to put it in the comments because it is crucial that we continue to share these fabulous resources and do what we can to support the artists in the area and the community itself. So very grateful to have that knowledge and get those resources out there. So, all right, how's your lunch coming?
It's coming good. I think it's pretty much ready.
All right, are we moving on to plating?
Possibly, yes. I mean, one last. So I turned it on low, just so the zucchini. Like I said, I don't like squishy zucchini, so just so it still cooks, but it's not raw. I'm gonna again put just a little bit more spice because why?
I love it already.
I feel like it's never enough. It's never enough. I didn't put any more garlic though. I put a big chunk earlier in. So, I don't want to scare off any vampires, but yeah, I think we're ready for the plating. So
okay, all right. Well, let's move on there. I kind of moved ahead a little bit here. So while you're getting yours out, I'll go ahead and show mine off. I am once again back to my fine china. I went out and got some brand new china this week. I ran out of my old stuff there. So there's my wonderful plastic. And then you can see here, my toast is on there. I'll give you a little sneak peek at the ingredients there with my Italian sausage and fried egg sandwich. So there's mine right there. Yours looks so much more beautiful and colorful than mine does.
I love color, but there's mine. Nice and done. Very simple. Again, you can, if you have cilantro, you can top it in or cook it in. Sometimes I'll cook it in. I'm probably, after this, going to just put a little bit of Greek yogurt on it, mix it in, and go to town.
Well, it looks absolutely delicious. I love that bowl, too. What a gorgeous, gorgeous bowl there. So
shout out to my sister, who may or may not be watching, but she gave me those bowls. They were her old set, and I really loved them, and I coveted them. And she's like, okay, you're moving. I will give them to you. And so she just gave them to me. And she got some cheap ones from, I think, Walmart or something that she doesn't love as much, but I love her. She loves me. She gave me her plates.
those are absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, what a wonderful gift there as well. So
Yeah.
those are so pretty. You can put just about anything in them. And then, you know, people are usually focused on that more than the meals. So you've got the best of both worlds, because there was some wonderful color in those ingredients for your lunch as well. So, all right, Miss Rita, do you got any tips for us on how to stay sane at home, mentally or physically?
Hobbies. Discover old hobbies, new hobbies. I know, like I said, before I started this position, I was like off for about a month. I was still in school. I just graduated this spring, but so I had like a little bit of homework left, but I had nothing really major, so I had a lot of free time. So I used to do choreography as well before I did this. When I was doing the teaching, I used to do color guard. So I went outside with my old equipment and I was like, let's see if I can still do this. I can, but not great. I discovered that. I picked up instruments again. I'm technically proficient in flute. That was my part of my undergrad. I picked up my flute again. I played a little bit. I picked up my ukulele. I started playing with that again. Crocheting, knitting, I loved it. So just do cleaning, whatever you can do to kind of just keep busy. And also don't feel bad. I think people felt bad that they were just like, I'm just kind of lying around and not really being productive. And you don't have to be. If it's good for your mental health to just take a rest and not have to make your brain work, that is fine. If you want to lie on the couch, that is fine. You want to take a nap all day, that is fine. If you want to decide to clean the whole house and the garage and paint everything, that is fine too. So just do what feels right to you and don't worry about if anybody else is calling you lazy, because they don't know. They don't know what you're going through. It's all personal journey. This seems like it's a big time for personal journeys, and I enjoyed doing a lot of hobbies and catching up on books and reading, and that made me happy. It's a little different for everybody, but also look for, you know, online resources as well as, like I said, the library. I will push out the library again. We've got a lot of stuff if you are feeling lonely, or you just want to talk to people about the latest book that you read, or talk to me about the latest album that you heard. I am happy to do any of that. We're all happy to welcome you to any of our programs to do that. And definitely reach out to friends and family. They may be feeling the same way you do, especially old friends. I've reconnected with a lot of friends of mine who, you know, we were all just busy and we never could get together anymore. And then it finally became a time where, hey, maybe we should like watch a movie over Zoom and, you know, chat. And so that was really great to reconnect with people that way.
Wow. Yeah, some great insight there and some great tips. I hope you don't mind, but I might tell my boss that I'm needing a nap. So
Yeah. It is time for your mental health. You need a nap.
Awesome. Okay, Rita, I got one more question for you. And this is probably the most important one. I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier in the interview. How can we find out about these wonderful programs at the library and keep up with what's going on there?
So you can come to our Facebook page. I feel like our Facebook page is going to have the most events, and you can register if they're like Zoom sort of things. Sometimes they're just live. But our Facebook with our events, you can go there, as well as our library's website. We have the calendar of events, and it'll also feature on there on the front page like some of the bigger programs that we have coming, and they'll kind of change that out regularly. Follow us on social media as well. We have Instagram and Twitter. So that's going to be your best bet for finding out what's going on, or even just book recommendations or material recommendations. We have a lot of people working, our cataloging librarians, our selecting librarians. They're doing amazing work, just kind of promoting what we do have available, especially for our ebooks. We've got a lot more than we had before, because that was people's primary resource to getting stuff from the library when we weren't open. And now I think our collection is just doubled, and it's beautiful. And we've got so many great stuff, like things available. So I recommend that.
Wow, great information, great information. All right, you got your bowl there ready as we sign off. And I was curious if you had any other final words of wisdom for the people out there, or anything that you would just like to share with everybody.
Definitely just stay tuned. We've got a lot more planned in the library. We've got some really great events coming up, and support your local businesses, support your local artists, support yourself, support everybody.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Miss Rita, sounds like a great job. You did a wonderful interview there. You have a wonderful lunch in front of you. We are so very grateful to you to take the time and join us, have lunch with me, and share this wonderful information. So just very grateful, and so appreciative of all you're doing, and all the library system's doing as well, to give us opportunities to stay engaged, grow our minds, and support the community out there. So with that being said, that wraps up another episode of Box Lunch. We got another week in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay focused, engage with the people that are out there around you safely. And we'll be back on Friday with another episode. And with that being said, have a wonderful day, everybody. Stay safe, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and we'll be seeing you soon. So bon appetit, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Well done.
Just enough.